welcome to the Money Script Podcast. It's your host, Johannes Harrison. So happy to be with each and every one of you once again. Oh, it has been a complete whirlwind of information. For those of you that are listening in real time, we are almost to the end of the year. 2023 is about to be gone. Whew, it's been a year, and so much stuff has happened just in like the last week. We're going to talk about a few of those things today, because if any of you have been following the AI world, there's been some huge developments in the realm of AI, even in the past today. I mean, last 24, 48 hours. So it's been quite exciting. For those of you joining us for the first time, I am a financial advisor. I am the founder of Money Script Wealth Management, where I help clients bring alignment between their values, their financial behaviors, and their goals. And we do that through a fun process called financial planning. Really, I'm just here to help people make better financial decisions and learn more about financial literacy and how their money works. Today, I have the unique opportunity to be with one of our vendors. So this is a company that I actually use and engage with to help deliver advice to clients. And actually, I'm gonna say it. You know, he's sitting right here. For those of you listening, you haven't seen him yet. For those of you on YouTube, you already know who my guest is. But this is I've been so bold to say that it is in my top 3 of all tools that I use. Okay. Now, of course, I have to put my CRM at number 1, have to, which means he's battling it out for 2 or 3. And it's something we get a lot of usage out of. And he shares the same last name with as the first name as my son. So for those who know Seth, this is Anand Sheth. Anand, thanks for joining us on the Money Script Podcast. How are you today?
Good. Thank you, Johannes, for having me, and also mentioning that we're on the top 3. I appreciate that.
Indeed. So let's dive into your company, because this is, for those of you, again, first timers. He's in the industry, so we're going to have kind of a talking shop sort of thing. So this is a great podcast for those who want to learn a little bit more about how the sausage is made, and what some of the leaders in the industry, how we're thinking about doing, providing a better, higher quality and more advice to more people. And of course, we're also going to talk about some of the current events, like I said, what's been going on in AI. But his company, Pulse 360. So Pulse 360, what it is for me, it's a documentation service. It allows me to convert my ideas and my advice into a well-written and very beautiful, I might add, documentation, so that I can provide that to my clients as a written receipt of, here, I did the job that I said I was going to do. So let's kind of start with advice, and just what advice is. And can you talk to us a little bit about what brought you into the advice community?
Yeah, I started back in 2000, so about 2 decades. And the reason I started was, we had the .com era, and my dad used to do trading. And of course, with the .com era, like everybody else, lost his shirt on there. And I started to realize that there needed to be somebody who could actually help and professionalize the advice and what you should and should not be doing and things of that sort. And that led me to this industry. I started and I was an advisor. I've done everything, actually. If you've heard me before, I say I've served coffee to clients all the way to compliance, right, in this industry. So for 2 decades, I just did thousands of financial plans, portfolios, managing, millions of dollars, all of that. So.
Got it. And so what led you to create Pulse 360?
So it's interesting. I tell folks that are not part of the industry, who don't know, I said, we sort of kind of live in the 1980s technology world. Everything is so manual. And when I was in the advisor world, we used to prep for meetings and provide better client experience in the advice, but there's just so much manual heavy lifting we have to do behind the scenes that it starts limiting us on how many clients we can even serve. And that's, to me, not a positive thing for our industry. And so I wanted to see, how can we change and make operations more automated and more efficient overall, so that we can serve more clients. And that's sort of what led me to one day decide and just say, you know what, I need to just get out and build a system that can help advisors scale and have capacity, and start thinking in terms of systems so then it can be automated.
Yes. I don't view, I know we said we talk about AI and we'll get to that, but I don't, the way I view AI is AE, automation and efficiency. That's what AI is to me. It's automation and efficiency. How can I do more with less? How can I take a process that is cumbersome and make it more simple and repeatable so I can do it for as many people as possible? Because that's his whole charge of being in a financial advisor. At least for me, the it was once described to me that being a financial advisor, you need to have the heart of a social worker and the mind of an entrepreneur. And so that heart of the social worker part of it is that desire to want to help as many people as possible. And as you were saying, if I'm caught up in a spreadsheet and a Word document and a PowerPoint document trying to create a presentation for a client, I'm spending a lot of time just documenting the advice versus actually giving the advice to the client and helping the client take action. So if we can cut down on that, that means more people we can help. So let's thank you for sharing a bit about how Pulse 360 came to be. We'll talk a little bit more about how I'm using it in the practice. And if you're a fellow advisor listening to this, this is a little bit of a commercial for you. You're welcome. So
Thank
I
you.
want to talk about AI a little bit, because typically at the top of the show we like to talk about a current event. And as someone that is actively involved in the AI conversations, especially at the industry level, I want to kind of give everyone that's not paying attention some of the things that have been going on in 2023. So one of the big things we had was the launch of Chat GPT and the subsequent upgrades to it, and that has well, one thing, it caused certain areas of the stock market to just go absolutely nuts. So you have certain stocks that hit all-time highs, and everyone's talking about them, and clients are calling me, hey, should I buy some? I'm like, yeah, maybe 3 years ago you should have. I mean, now you're going to pay a lot for it, but I'm sure somebody's willing to sell you theirs. But you had that. You also just, and I would say just recently, what's happened is Google has announced their version of Chat GPT. I believe the name of it is Gemini. Okay. I thought it was called Bard, but apparently that's something else. I don't know. There's so much going on out there. We also had, in the Chat GPT world, you had Microsoft, major investor, Chat GPT, and the CEO of Chat GPT, or excuse me, of OpenAI, the creators of Chat GPT, was ousted a few weeks ago by the board, like over the weekend. And by the end of the week, had his job back. Weird, so strange. Microsoft was caught off guard. It was this whole thing. Now you have two camps that are out there. Oh, well, more than two, but two general camps that are out there. You have the individuals that are adopting the technology and infusing it into what they're doing and making good use of it. And then you still have a group of people that are anti-AI, that are absolutely positive that it is going to bring about the Terminator, and it's going to be the end of times, which I can't say that they're not wrong. It is some scary stuff if you look at what it could be capable of in years to come. But I feel like for the most part, it's a great tool that's here to help us all become better versions of ourselves and be able to do more. Because really, let's be real. AI, my word processor was AI when I was 7 years old, because I was typing in 2 pages of text and I hit a button and then it typed it out on a piece of paper for me. That was a form of artificial intelligence. It was a memory chip in there that remembered what I typed and then would go do the action. We felt the same way about computers and cell phones, etc. So it's just technology, people. It's really, it's a tool, and it's how you use it. So enough about the current events and things that are going on. Let's talk about AI in financial services, because at the beginning of the year, there were actual articles coming out in the financial services magazines saying it was the end of financial advisors because ChatGPT was going to replace us. Your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah, so I have myself also said on record that advisors will need to up their game, uh, because there are going to be technologies that are going to be launched over the next probably 2, 3, maybe 5 years, which is going to compete directly with advisors. Now, I understand
Absolutely.
there's a human component, right? For sure. I've been involved, with meeting with thousands of clients, so I understand the human component, and that's something that AI cannot just replace. However, one of the examples I like to give for advisors specifically is to not take this like the robo advisors that we used to have back. I don't know when they first
Oh
came
yeah,
out.
robo advisor. And let me pause for a second. A robo advisor is just an auto rebalancing software.
That's right.
It's all this. They gave it the name robo advisor to make it sound cool. It's an auto rebalancing software. Guess what, people? I use auto rebalancing software.
Yeah.
I said it as robotic as I can. Go
Yeah,
on, sir.
but when that came out, we were also at that time talking the same, right? Doomsday scenario. I know I was one of those, like, oh my God, how is this going to impact us? But the reality is, there's a lot of moving parts for individuals and their families that, as an advisor, you need that human component to kind of look at all of that. Saying that, this new technology with the AI is different, and it will make an impact for, at least I would say, the clients we're not able to serve efficiently or economically today, right? Now, I'm sure Fidelity, Schwab are all rushing and building out things in this world, right? And now it becomes, what, as an advisor, is your value proposition for your clients? I know for a fact, for 2 decades I've done it. I have all my chips and bets on the advisors, right? The human advisors. But I also want you guys not to discount this as robo advisors. Start honing in your services and models and communicate your value better with your clients, right? And have better automations, have better systems so you can service more clients and deliver that human level. Because that other technology, I know Google, for example, has funded a company that's looking to build something where it will provide this level of advice, right? There's also regulations. We don't know how regulations are going to change, right? And so,
Oh, they'll be slow as always, and
yeah,
they'll overreact
yeah.
and then underreact.
As advisors, I have all my bets and chips on you. However, you can't just be complacent, right? You have to start becoming more efficient, becoming more value driven, delivering, upping your skills in different areas that perhaps we may not be as well versed in. So,
Well, I'm gonna tell everyone right now. I'm using AI to its fullest. It is built into Advisor 360. Oh, excuse me. I said Advisor 360. Pulse 360. It is built into Pulse 360. And one of the things I love about the application is that there's this counter that's been built into it that tells me when I'm using the AI tool how much time it's saving me for a task that I used to do. So this is a task that 6 months ago I was doing manually. And now there is a tool that allows me to give the advisor the human input. So I do the human input, and then the tool helps convert that input into tasks for my team, tasks for my clients, and the compliant advice that I want to give. Okay. The only thing I'm waiting for to do is I need the ticker to just be in the top corner. So it tells me for life how much time I've saved. So then I can set some goals and say, all right, once I hit 3 days saved, I'm taking 3 days off. But think about that. Something I did 6 months ago, I'm now able to do in some cases 50, if not 75% faster because of this tool. It just allows me to give more advice to more people. This is me, the human, using the technology. Now, I also have I utilized ChatGPT, and I subscribed to the upgrade when it went to ChatGPT 4, where you can build your own chat GPTs, if you will. So I have created basically what I call a fractional COO with my chat GPT, and you're able to upload your own information set to the chat GPT. So what did I do? I started uploading some of the documentation that I use for giving advice. So like information from Investopedia on Roth IRAs, or solo 401ks, or information from some of my study material for the Chartered Retirement Planning Counselor exam. So I can feed it that data, and then I can give it a scenario. I've been testing it. Give it a scenario. Okay, client is this age with this amount of money, has these goals. Based on the data that you have that I've already fed to you, this is stuff that's in my brain anyways, that I'm usually going to try to regurgitate out, where I usually have to go consult one of these books back here and say, okay, how does that strategy work again? Let me apply it to this client. Let me go pull up an Excel spreadsheet, a financial planning tool, and plug all this in. Now I can click a button and it'll give me 3 scenarios, or it can go back and find where I've had that scenario before and say, well, when you worked with Anand on this last time, here's what you told him. Like, oh, well, I can, as the human, well, you know what? Their situations are pretty similar. Let me take him these same ideas. Doing more on less time. This is, again, the human part of this, of using the tool. Hey, if you've been in financial services long enough, you remember doing a financial plan on a legal pad with a financial planning calculator. Oh,
Yeah.
weren't you happy when you finally got a financial planning tool? I remember the days when, I remember before eMoney, before Right Capital, before any of those existed. I remember there was two players in the game, Fazware, and I can't remember the other one because they went away.
Yeah.
Now there's about 15 different programs out there that take away the legal pad and the calculator. That's all this is, people. I feel like I'm preaching. I'm
No,
going to
I
calm
mean,
down for a minute.
I agree with you. This is why when I said my bet is on the advisor side, but I also don't want you guys to be complacent. We're building tools to give you that power so that you can become better and better and serve more clients, right? I fully, like, when I started Pulse 360, the main vision was advisors provided tremendous value to their clients. Huge. But a lot of times clients are not aware of everything because they get busy in their lives. That's where the documentation piece comes in, because now it's in black and white and somebody can go back and read, like, oh yeah, this is what Johans has been doing for me, right? So we want to build tools that take away a lot of those mundane things that we can automate or use AI for it. So that's what we've been doing, right? And it's to be on your side as advisors and get you some scale and capacity that you didn't have before. You just said, right, 6 months ago, it would have taken you longer. Now it's 50 to 60% less. And it's just going to get better. It's ridiculous what's going to come down the pipe. I mean, I have seen some of the future stuff, and it's just, and we work towards that. It's exciting times.
Okay, well, now you've teased us. Tell us about the future, oh wise sage.
Well, I
What do
mean,
we have to look forward to?
look, some of the things we have already implemented. Like I see as an industry, I was at a conference recently, and I hear lots of leaders talking about AI, and everybody's kind of all open-eyed and looking at this, right? It's definitely from their perspective, they're looking at it. From my perspective, we're already on stage 3 versus everybody's still looking at stage 1. Stage 2, for example, for us was the recent launch of Note Genius, as I'm sure I think you've experienced and used.
That's what I'm talking about right now. Note Genius.
Right,
Oh yeah.
right. It's not just converting your text into something you can send to the clients, but it's actually also thinking, hey, there's a task here potentially for my team, and it's creating that for you, right? So we're taking the AI to say, let's create more or take away more manual work by figuring out what's next step, right, for the advisor. We're learning as you use more and more. Our goal is to have a Johans AI, right, for money script, because you use language and you use different investment strategies that's very unique to you that doesn't apply to another advisor, for example, right? So we're what we're doing is we're just collecting all of this information as you're making changes and whatnot. And eventually we're going to launch a money script AI that's only fits you, right? And that's, to me, that's the future, is individualized AI models.
So now I'm going to ask for favors since we're here together. So what the one thing that I wish right now that Pulse 360 could do that it doesn't quite do yet is what you said. It's the money script AI, where I can say, consider Roth IRA. Okay. And it already knows that's the recommendation that I want to use, because I have a recommendation that says consider Roth IRA, but also gives all the benefits of a Roth IRA, how much they can contribute. I don't want to type that every single time, but I'd like that recommendation to end up in there just by saying consider Roth IRA. And it's like, maybe this is the recommendation you want, or, benefits of 529, and it knows to go grab that benefits of 529. So that is, because you're correct. My system has a language model at this point, because I've created, I forgot how many it said, 455 different entries inside of Pulse 360, I think is what it said last time I looked.
In the library, right? Yeah.
In the library. That becomes the language of my firm. Mm-hmm. And from there, it's plug and play, which all that does, it enables me to give more advice to more people. That's it.
That's right.
It's that simple. And that's what I want. I want more people to get more advice so they can get the things they want out of their life and from their money.
And for sure, like what you just mentioned, those are some of the things we'll definitely be releasing over I would say in 2024, we'll definitely have those things where it can start telling you, hey, this client, you've recommended Roth, and here's potentially what else, So because as you use our software, you're adding in, as you have your meetings, you're adding in important information about the client, what they want, what their goals are. And with the AI and stuff, we can utilize to say, okay, this is what this client profile looks like, and what should be the next conversation that Johan should be having or clients should be considering, right? So those are relatively easy stuff for us to do. I am more also interested in just taking away steps from you or your team to even do manually, right? We're basically, I was meeting with somebody the other day, and I said, we're basically trying to build a Zapier for financial advisors, right? And using
that would be okay. I see what you mean. So, okay, say less. I know exactly. Yes. See, I've tried a few of the Zapiers, and for me, I'm just not technically savvy enough to build them properly and fix them when they break. So I had a couple, and then there was one that, again, it's programming. I'm not a programmer. I'm just not that guy. I did find out that I can ask ChatGPT how to program Zapier, which was, I was like, oh, that's cool. And it knows, in some programs it knows, some it doesn't yet, just because of the whole time gap there. But yeah, if there would, so yes, if Pulse and Calendly, which is a calendar I use, and Wealthbox, which is my CRM, if those can all kind of talk to each other just through the notes,
yeah. So that's the idea, right? Wow. I'll give you an example, right? A simple example here. Let's say you have a prospective client who visits your website or listens to the podcast and decides to contact you, and then they naturally set up a meeting with you, right? My vision is, we know now the date and time that this meeting has been booked, and with which client, and perhaps what information they're looking for, like maybe retirement planning, education planning. Well, why not we automatically prep an email that can go to the client ahead of time saying, here's an agenda, without a human intervention, right? There is an element that we need to figure out, like, you need to see what's going out as an advisor, because we can't just willy-nilly send something out. You have to be able to. So we're trying to figure out how much automation we can bring to this, and then even create tasks in your Wealthbox CRM or any other CRM you're using to say, hey, follow up with this client after the meeting to say, are we deciding to work together? All of that. Just that whole, this is just one example, right, of the manual work that you have to do or your team has to do, we're trying to figure out how can we use our existing built technology to just kind of use the AI, use the automation, and build that Zapier type of functionality where you don't need to worry about the technology part. You just need to worry about your business and your practice.
Now, for other business owners, advisors that are listening, first of all, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. You may be thinking, wow, what's being described there are a lot of things that my virtual assistant or my assistant does for me. If now AI can do those, does that mean I get to not have a virtual assistant or assistant anymore? Can I save some money? And the short answer to that is there's a yes in there. Yes, you could. There are lots of tasks now that AI and over the near future is going to be able to do that will replace a lot of the things that humans are doing. But again, I'm talking to my advisors and business owners out there. If you create an efficiency and you can train your team on how to utilize that efficiency and you free up more time, you've now have the most precious commodity on the planet, time. Now, yes, you could choose to, I'm going to eliminate a cost and save some money, or you could choose that to take that time and invest it in growth. Because I'm already thinking, Neha, I'm sure you're listening to this because Anand, you're one of her favorite people. So Neha, I'm sure you're listening to this and you're hearing him describe a lot of what you do. Okay. Someone scheduled an appointment. Yeah, it automatically gets in the calendar, but we still have to build the profile and we have to determine the follow-up that's going to happen. And we have to connect everything to everything and send out the invites and this, that. And if there were a process where all of that happened for you, awesome. It's going to give you like a day back into your schedule. I would love for you to come to me and say, yo, I have a whole day where I have nothing to do anymore. Do you know how fast I would find something for you to do? I've got a long list of things that gives us the opportunity to take on other projects. It gives us the opportunity to be able to grow and nurture our clients better because we don't have to spend the time on some of the other, what I'll call, click BS. I mean, it's important stuff, but it's a lot of click here, fill in this, that yes, can be automated so that we get some time back.
Yeah, I agree, Johannes, on that. I know many folks may be feeling scared from that perspective. In the advisor world specifically, I think it would be foolish to let go of somebody. Here's why. It's very hard to train in our business.
Yeah.
Now you're just going to, for saving, right? Instead, move them into more productive, more client-facing stuff so that you retain that talent and the experience rather than trying to just think in terms of, I'm going to save costs. You actually, it's ended up going to costing you more because that experience has just left the door, right?
So, absolutely. Agreed. Yeah. So it has come time, our favorite part of the show, where we like to learn from our guests about their money script. So we view money scripts as these internal stories and experiences that we have that shape our ultimate relationship with money. So a question that we asked to each of our guests, and then we're asking of you, is what is your first memory of money?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Mine is a little bit different. I don't think you're going to hear this as often.
I like this. Okay, I'm in.
So I grew up in Africa. I was born there, grew up there, and my dad my family had a successful business. So I have seen firsthand what success really looks like when growing up. At the same time, all my friends who weren't as in the same level as us used to be able to get a motorcycle or a bicycle or a new computer and all these things in Africa, yet my dad would not give me any of that. Now, his lesson was basically, just because we have money, you have to learn to respect it and not just go out and just spend it and get whatever you want, right? Later in life, we lost every penny. So I have experience from both sides of the world. So it's a little bit different, right? Now I understand the value of money, but I also understand the value of experience. With my daughter, for example, I am going to take her into experiences rather than buying a toy. I'd rather take her somewhere and experience, because I think that's more valuable. So it's all driven by my own growing up and how I was denied certain experiences because my dad's thinking, rightly, I understand what now I understand. At the time, I did not, obviously, right? So,
Indeed.
yeah.
Beautiful story. Beautiful story. And I love how you are bringing your experience with money and finance into your parenting. And that's something I encourage for all of our parents that are listening out there, especially of young children. Remember, we ask our guests about their first memory of money. And we also encourage you to think about your first memory or memories of money, and know that you have an opportunity to provide your children with their first memories and interactions with money as well. And if you're apprehensive about it, or you're scared about it, or you don't want to talk about it, that is what you're portraying, and that is what you're teaching to your children. So if there's anything that you could do that's a little bit different, that I encourage you to try on, just try it on like a new pair of shoes, see if they fit, but try on being a little bit more vulnerable with your children to your lack of financial literacy and desire to improve it. It is very okay to have a conversation with your child and say, hey, together, let's learn about what an investment is, or what money is, or let's add up how much we spent in groceries this last month. Let's see if we have the money that we need to cover all the bills. Let's talk about how much is going in savings account. There's ways you can do it at different age levels to make it fun. So I'll end this with one quick story, and in honor of the holidays, which we're approaching. We send out holiday cards to our clients every year, and my daughter, my youngest, she's the one that does all the holiday cards and birthday cards. So for clients, if you receive a holiday card or birthday card and the address is on upside down or stamped in the wrong corner, and you're like, did a child do this? Yes, a child did do it. That's her job. That's what she does for the firm. So she was offered a bonus opportunity because she gets paid to do the work, and we had over 400 cards that went out, and so based on our hourly rate, she was going to earn about $120. Now, this young lady, being 6 years old, somehow in that conversation, what she heard was $1,200. So she finished the cards this weekend, and it was time to have the conversation of, okay, it's time for you to receive your $120, but we're not going to give a 6-year-old $120 in cash. We're not going to do that. Let's have a conversation about, what are you going to save? What are you going to use to give away? What are you going to invest, put into your bank account? Let's have that conversation. And so we sit down with her last night. It's like, okay, so we're going to pay you your $120. You got all the cards done. And she looked us right in her eye and said, I said $1,200. And she was serious. In the moment, what I thought to myself is, what if this, at 6 years old, what if this becomes her first memory of money? And it just made me just appreciate the moment for a little bit while longer, and made me remember to be that much more intentional with the financial conversations that I'm having with her at 6. Because guess what? My first memories of money, when I was about 5, 6 years old, those are the ones that I can clearly remember, and had a profound impact on many of my years as a child. So with that, I want to thank you all for tuning in again to the Money Script Podcast. Thank you to our guests. For those of you advisors, if you want to learn a little bit more about Pulse 360, of course, you can go to their website. All the links will be right down here. You can also find us both on Twitter. We have some fun on there from time to time. For those in financial industry, if you hashtag FinTwit, you'll find a good amount of individuals in the finance industry that you can follow and learn from. We're always helping each other out. There's a lot of conversations going on right now with the huge conversion of TD Ameritrade to Schwab. So, if you're a client or an investor and you're in that situation, we went from TD to Schwab, your advisor's going through it too. Okay. Some things are changing. Some things aren't working like they used to. And some advisors are choosing other platforms. I mean, there's other platforms out there. So if your advisor's talking to you about that, just know there's other places you can get some more information about that. It's just, again, we want to give you kind of that inside look behind the scenes, how the sausage is made, and let you know that, yes, we're using a lot of technology and AI, and we're still people, and it's a people's first business. So with that, we will see you, I guess next week. Hey, we've been going weekly for a while now. We'll see you next week. I don't even remember who I'm interviewing next week. Oh no, wait. Time out. This is episode 99. I'm pretty sure this is episode 99. So there won't be a show next week because episode 100 is coming out in the new year. That's season 5, episode 100. It's already in the can, already been recorded. Got a great treat for all of you. I am so excited. So thank you, Anand, for being episode 99.
Awesome.
Got 99 problems, and this episode isn't one.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Indeed. All right. Well, we'll see you next time on the Money Script Podcast. Don't forget to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we'll see you next time.